It's Sunday, so we are going to start our day with the lighter side of sports. We are going to leave John Tavares and the Toronto Maple Leafs are very far apart in contract negotiations. We just did the Knies one about how Knies and the Leafs are far apart. Now we get news that John Tavares and the Leafs are far apart. We're going to leave that and start our Sunday with the lighter side of sports. And that is because this might not be important at all in the realm of anything, but this story about Aaron Rodgers lying about having a wife might be the most interesting story in all of pro sports right now. The Daily Mail came out with an article a couple days ago, last week. They kind of summarized the whole controversy that's going on. And as the days have gone on since this article was published, we've gotten a little bit more news, but we'll get into all the details here on the original reporting by the Daily Mail on the fact that Aaron Rodgers said he had a wife, and he's probably lying about that, and he's not married at all. Let's go through the article. The title is Aaron Rodgers' Marriage Mystery Deepens as Family Questions If He Really Tied the Knot with Never Seen Wife. So what happened was, in the springtime, NFL teams have these things called OTAs. They're called Organized Team Activities, and they're only permitted to happen for a certain amount of hours each day. There's no contact allowed. Teams are just running like 7-on-7 drills, and they're going through the playbook for the upcoming season, all that stuff. It's very low key. It's getting ready for training camp, the actual training camp of the NFL season, but it happens in the spring, and it's voluntary. And Aaron Rodgers, who did not sign with Pittsburgh at the beginning of OTAs. He was not signed with the deal, but he had a deal in place with the team. But they didn't want him to sign that agreement and then not be at OTAs. So they delayed the whole signing process of Aaron Rodgers joining the Pittsburgh Steelers because they didn't want it to be a distraction. So they acquiesced to his demands to not want to come to OTAs. And they said, okay, don't sign your contract so you don't have to be here. And then once you're ready to come to OTAs, the organized team activities, you can sign your contract and then we'll have you in the building here. So Aaron Rodgers, not there for a little bit, but everybody thinks he's going to sign with the Steelers. He does sign with the Steelers. He finally shows up to OTAs. Everyone's like, oh, hey, Aaron Rodgers, one of the most famous people in sports. What are you doing here? How have you been? What is that band on your ring finger? And it's a black band that's hanging out on his wedding ring finger. And they say, are you married? What's going on with that ring? And he says that he's been married for a couple of months. I believe that is the exact quote in the article. Yeah, the new Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, 41, confirmed this week that he got married a couple of months ago, following weeks of speculation after he had been spotted wearing a black wedding band on his ring finger. So everyone's like, oh, congratulations, Aaron Rodgers. That's cool. You showed up to OTAs. We're getting to know you again. And you've been married for a couple of months. That's awesome. And then everybody's like, so who's the lucky lady who gets to marry Aaron Rodgers? And nobody seems to know. The Daily Mail goes on to explain that the news caught several members of Rodgers' family and friends off guard, and multiple sources have told the Daily Mail that they are beginning to question if the man the Steelers are banking on to helm their first Super Bowl in over a decade is actually someone's husband. As of today, public records show no trace of a legal marriage. A clerk in Pennsylvania said there's been no registered marriage. County officials in Las Vegas said that there's no record of Aaron Rodgers getting married there this year. And then they asked California clerks as well, and they said no. But in California, you can get a secret marriage license in some instances. So it's not fully confirmed that in Pennsylvania, Vegas, and California that he does not have a marriage license. But in all three of those states, there is no public record that he has a marriage in one of those states. So they said, okay, let's see if any of his family members know, because Aaron Rodgers' brother is actually famous in his own right. He won The Bachelorette in 2016. His brother's Jordan Rodgers, 2016 Bachelorette winner. The Daily Mail writes that Jordan and his wife JoJo did not attend the former Packers star's wedding. If there was a wedding, they did not attend it. So Jordan Rodgers and his wife were not there at this mystery wedding that may or may not happen. They go on to write, Jordan and JoJo didn't go to the wedding and don't even know anything about Brittany. So it's rumored that this woman's name is Brittany because he was on Pat McAfee and he mentioned somebody named Brittany, and people think that that's her name. that this could be Brittany because he mentioned her once in Pat McAfee's show where he does a weekly appearance. So that's why we're going to refer to her as Brittany, this mystery woman who may or may not exist. There's more info here on Jordan and JoJo. The Daily Mail said they are still angry that Aaron didn't go to their wedding and he didn't want to be with his brother on the biggest day. So why would they twist themselves up over a wedding? Now insiders say the family is unconvinced the marriage is real. This is Rodgers' rest of his family and suspect Rodgers may have had a symbolic commitment ceremony instead of a legally binding wedding. And this would go back to Aaron Rodgers' comments during the COVID-19 pandemic when they asked him if he was vaccinated against COVID-19, and he said that he was immunized, which means he made up his own way to immunize himself against COVID-19 when they'd asked him hey, are you vaccinated? And he's like, oh, well, I'm immunized. And everyone thought, it was oh, so you got vaccinated. That's great. And it later came out that he never got vaccinated for the vaccine. He did his own immunization. So this marriage thing, I think a lot of people are thinking it might be that. Not that she doesn't exist, because that's, I think, the most interesting outcome, that he's just lying and she doesn't exist. People are saying that she does exist, but he didn't get married. So he had his own Aaron Rodgers version of a marriage, a commitment ceremony, where he's like, yeah, I got married, and he got married in his own way, just like how he said he was immunized, but he didn't get vaccinated. So that is where people are landing with the mystery woman named Brittany. And just to clean up the rest of the info in the Daily Mail article, they said the only detail Rodgers has ever shared about his mystery partner is that her name is Brittany, first mentioned during a December interview on his friend Pat McAfee's podcast. And then he explained in that, too, that she doesn't have social media, so she probably hasn't seen any of his appearances on the Pat McAfee show. But that's the only info we have on this mystery Brittany woman that may or may not exist. This is going to be, I think, a fascinating season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a chance that Aaron Rodgers is able to channel 80% of what he was in 2021 when he won the MVP. Since that season, he's gone through a whole bunch of changes and a whole bunch of injuries, and that's kind of derailed the very late stages of his career. And last season with the Jets, coming off the injury where he played one possession with the Jets and then he was out for the entire season. Coming off of that last year, it's kind of a write-off, and the Steelers are banking on Rodgers, now that he's another year removed from that injury, that he's able to be one of the 15 best, probably 12 best starting quarterbacks in the National Football League. That's all he needs to be, is a really good game manager, a guy who can throw the ball deep to DK Metcalf, who they acquired, and then the defense will kind of do the rest of the work. Aaron Rodgers isn't being tasked to do too much. And the Steelers have a chance here to be a decent team if he can just be a little bit of what we saw in 2021. Now, who knows how that will go, but it's going to be very interesting on the field. And this off the field stuff is so fascinating. This is just the beginning. Like I said, we're only in OTAs. It's June. The football season starts in September, and we already got a fake marriage mystery woman that may or may not exist storyline out of Aaron Rodgers. Pittsburgh Steelers football is going to be must-watch stuff on the field and off the field. What a fun season ahead for all of us who can just sit back and watch and don't have a rooting interest in the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is it for me right now. See you again very soon. Thank you for being here. Could have been anywhere in the world, chose be listening or watching right now, and I appreciate you for that. Don't forget to hit like on this video on the Jesse Blake Sports Report YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe as well. See you later from Toronto.